Okay, so get this. We're diving into some seriously cool news from Mars. Get ready to have your mind blown.
Mind blown. That's a bold statement.
You'll see. We're talking about evidence of a massive, and I mean massive, underground reservoir of liquid water.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We found evidence of water on Mars before, but this sounds different.
Totally different. We're not talking about some little patches of ice here. This could be enough to fill entire oceans. I mean, it's like something straight out of a sci-fi novel, right?
An ocean on Mars. You've definitely got my attention. Let's break this down. What's the source for this incredible claim?
So our main source today is this super interesting paper, Marte con Agua. And let me tell you, it reads more like an adventure log than some dry, boring scientific report. It's all about how researchers stumbled upon this hidden Martian treasure.
Sounds like my kind of science paper. Less jargon, more adventure. But seriously, walk me through the discovery. What exactly did they find?
So scientists, and they're using data from the InSight lander, they discovered evidence of this massive water reservoir tucked away deep beneath the Martian surface.
Deep, you say. How deep are we talking?
Think deep, like somewhere between 11 to 19 kilometers down.
Whoa, 19 kilometers. That's more than double the depth of the Grand Canyon.
Very.
Well, that's pretty deep. And this water, it's liquid.
That's what the data suggests. Liquid water, trapped beneath all those layers of rock and dust. And get this, InSight wasn't even specifically looking for water, which I think is wild.
You're right, that is pretty wild.
Yeah.
InSight's primary mission was to study the internal structure of Mars, right? Using seismic waves, kind of like taking an ultrasound of the planet. So how did they find an ocean while listening to Mars's heartbeat?
It's actually pretty cool. By analyzing how these waves traveled through different layers, they detected a zone with properties that strongly suggest water-saturated rock. It's like they were listening for one thing and stumbled upon a hidden treasure.
That's amazing. Talk about a happy accident. But this changes everything we thought we knew about Mars, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, an ocean.
Right. It's completely changing my perspective on what lies beneath the surface of other worlds. This has to have huge implications for everything, from our understanding of Mars's history to the search for life beyond Earth, right?
Absolutely. It could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Mars's past, its water cycle, maybe even the possibility of life. This is huge.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little. Let's start with the water cycle. How does this discovery change our understanding of how water flowed on Mars, back in the day?
Well, for a long time, the thinking was that Mars lost most of its water to space over billions of years.
Yeah, that Mars basically dried up.
Right. But this discovery, this suggests something totally different. It suggests that a significant amount of water might still be trapped beneath the surface.
Okay, so not gone, just hidden.
Exactly. And that means we might need to completely rethink our models of Martian hydrology. Like, how did water move between the surface, the atmosphere, and this deep underground reservoir? We need to figure that out.
That's so cool. And what about the big question? Life. You're saying this discovery has scientists buzzing about the potential for Martian life?
Buzzing might be an understatement. While we haven't found any direct evidence of life yet, the presence of liquid water is incredibly exciting. Think about it. This deep reservoir, it could provide a more stable and protected environment than the crazy harsh conditions on the surface.
So you're saying this underground ocean could be a haven for life?
It's possible. It could potentially harbor microbial life, maybe even something more complex. We just don't know yet.
That's straight out of a science fiction novel. Imagine an entire ecosystem thriving beneath the surface of Mars, completely unknown to us. It's mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing is right. And it just goes to show how much we still don't know about the universe and the possibilities that exist beyond our own planet.
It's humbling for sure. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a second. What does this mean for future missions to Mars? Does this change how we approach exploration?
Oh, absolutely. Knowing that there's a potential source of water trapped beneath the surface, it's a complete game changer for future missions.
In what way?
Well, imagine, instead of hauling all our water from Earth, which is crazy expensive and inefficient, we might be able to tap into this Martian reservoir.
That would be incredible. We could actually use what's already there.
Precisely. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Think about it. Longer duration missions, maybe even permanent settlements one day. And who knows, maybe even terraforming efforts in the distant future.
That's amazing. It seems like this one discovery has opened up a Pandora's box of possibilities for Mars exploration, but this is just the beginning, isn't it? I mean, our source points out that this discovery has ripple effects on the search for water elsewhere in our solar system. and even beyond.
Oh, absolutely. This discovery has implications far beyond Mars.
It's like realizing that water, this essential ingredient for life as we know it, might be more common and more elusive than we ever imagined.
More common, more mysterious, more everything. It really makes you think.
So are you ready to go on a cosmic road trip?
Always up for an adventure. Where are we headed?
Let's take a journey to some other intriguing locations where water might be hiding. And our first stop, our very own moon.
The moon? Really? I thought the moon was just a big, dry, dusty rock. You're telling me there's water up there?
You might be surprised. While you won't find any lunar lakes or rivers, there is water on the moon.
Okay, you're messing with me, right? Where is all this water hiding?
It's mostly hidden as ice.
Ice, huh?
Yeah, tucked away in these permanently shadowed craters at the poles. These craters are like cosmic freezers.
Cosmic freezers. I like that. Shielding the ice from the sun's heat, preserving it for, well, who knows how long.
Billions of years, maybe? It's incredible.
It is. But if it's always in shadow, how do we even know it's there?
That's a great question. It's only recently that we've had the technology to peek into these permanently shadowed craters, It takes specialized instruments like radar and neutron spectrometers to detect the presence of water ice beneath the surface.
So we can actually see through the shadows with this technology.
In a way, yeah. And it's not just about finding traces of water. We're talking about potentially massive amounts of this stuff locked away as ice. Enough to maybe one day support a lunar base or even fuel future missions deeper into space.
Now that would be amazing, using resources from the moon to explore even further. Talk about a lunar pit stop. But enough about the moon for now. What's our next watery destination?
Get ready, because we're blasting off to a tiny moon with a truly massive surprise. Enceladus.
Enceladus, you mean that tiny moon orbiting Saturn?
The one and only. It's only about 310 miles across, but what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in wow factor.
I'm all ears.
So picture this. You're cruising through space, approaching Enceladus, and suddenly, geysers.
Geysers on a moon. What are they orbiting with, space rocks?
Not exactly. Think more like, water vapor and icy particles.
Mm-hmm.
And these plumes, they're shooting hundreds of kilometers into space, creating this giant halo around the moon. You can even see it from Earth-orbiting telescopes.
Wow, a moon with a glowing halo. Okay, now I understand the wow factor. So what's driving these geysers? It's not little green men with water guns, is it?
Not quite. Scientists believe it all comes down to tidal forces from Saturn's gravity and heat generated from the moon's interior. This creates enough energy to melt the ice and boom, geysers.
So Saturn's basically squeezing this tiny moon until it cries out in water vapor. The universe is a weird and wonderful place. But there's more to it than just the geysers, right?
You know it. The geysers are just the tip of the iceberg, literally. What's really exciting is what they tell us about what's hiding beneath Enceladus's icy shell. And you're not going to believe this.
Try me.
Scientists believe there's a global subsurface ocean lurking beneath all that ice.
A hidden ocean.
Seriously.
And not just any ocean. Some scientists estimate it could be tens of kilometers deep in some places.
Mm-hmm.
That's deeper than the deepest parts of our own oceans.
A vast, hidden ocean on a tiny moon orbiting Saturn. This is getting hard to wrap my head around.
And it gets even wilder, those plumes. They're not just water vapor and ice, they've also got organic molecules and salts.
Hold on. Are you saying what I think you're saying?
It's possible, just possible, that Enceladus's ocean isn't just some giant sterile body of water. You might have the right ingredients, the energy sources to actually support life.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. We're talking about a moon, a tiny moon orbiting Saturn that might be more habitable than the surface of Mars. The universe just loves to keep us on our toes, doesn't it? It certainly does. But hold on tight, because our cosmic journey isn't over yet. Are you ready for our final stop?
Hit me with it. What's next?
Let's set our sights on another one of the solar system's most promising water worlds, and maybe the most tantalizing one yet. Jupiter's moon, Europa.
Europa. Ah, the king of the ocean moons. I've heard whispers, rumors of a massive ocean hidden beneath its icy shell. Is it really as impressive as they say?
Oh, it's impressive, all right? Europa is a world of extremes. Think about it. It's completely covered in this thick shell of ice. We're talking 15 to 25 kilometers thick. But, and this is the big but, beneath that frozen wasteland, there's an ocean that makes all the oceans on Earth look like puddles.
Okay, you've got my attention. How much water are we talking about here?
More than all the water on Earth combined.
You're kidding. More than all of Earth's oceans. Combined? On a moon that's smaller than our own. How is that even possible?
Tidal forces, my friend. Europa is locked in this constant gravitational tug-of-war with Jupiter and its other large moons.
So Jupiter's playing cosmic tug-of-war with its moons, and Europa's the rope. What effect does that have?
It's stretching and flexing Europa's interior, generating a ton of heat.
So even though Europa's surface is a frozen wasteland, deep down it's a giant hot tub.
You could say that? And here's where things get even more interesting. Europa's ocean, it's in direct contact with its rocky mantle.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, it means there's a good chance Europa might have something truly amazing. Hydrothermal vents.
Hydrothermal vents, like those deep-sea ecosystems we find here on Earth.
The very same. You know, the ones that thrive on chemosynthesis, completely independent of sunlight.
Those are some of the most alien environments on our planet. And you're saying they could exist on Europa, too.
It's a real possibility. And if those vents are there, well, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for life as we don't know it, potentially thriving in the depths of this alien ocean.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We've gone from a hidden ocean on Mars to geysers on a tiny moon to a potential alien ecosystem on Jupiter's doorstep. It's almost too much to take in.
And we're not even done yet, but I understand where you're coming from. It's like, with every discovery, we realize just how small we are, you know? It's humbling, to say the least. It really makes you appreciate the vastness of it all, you know? We get so caught up in our own little corner of the universe that we forget there's so much more out there.
It's true. We're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible. And speaking of scratching the surface, our source saved the most awe-inspiring, mind-boggling discovery for last.
Oh, I love when they do that. Okay, hit me. What's the grand finale?
Ready for this? A giant cloud of water vapor floating in space.
Okay, I'm listening. A cloud of water vapor in space. There's a lot of space out there. How giant are we talking?
Giant doesn't even begin to cover it. This thing is ridiculous. We're talking 140 billion times the amount of water found on Earth.
Hold up. 140 billion Earths worth of water just floating around out there? How is that even a thing?
It's a big universe full of big surprises. And this particular cloud, it's not just drifting aimlessly, it's swirling around a quasar.
A quasar. Black holes, quasars. Are we even talking about water anymore? This deep dive is really testing my understanding of reality.
We're still talking about water, but we're talking about water on a scale that's almost impossible to imagine. And this quasar, well, it's basically a supermassive black hole that's shooting out jets of energy and matter at nearly the speed of light.
So let me get this straight. This massive, mind-blowingly huge cloud of water vapor is just casually orbiting a supermassive black hole that's shooting jets of energy at the speed of light. And we're supposed to be finding this normal.
Normal is relative, right? But that's not even the wildest part. This cloud, it formed just 1.6 billion years after the Big Bang. We're talking about some seriously old water here.
Older than time. Okay, now you're just messing with me.
Yeah.
But seriously, what does this all mean?
It means that water isn't just some random fluke. It's not just some special thing that only exists here on Earth. It's everywhere. It's been around since the beginning of, well, everything. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what? Don't leave me hanging.
If water is that common, that fundamental, how many other places out there have we not even begun to imagine that might hold even more surprises?
Wow. That's a pretty incredible thought. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this cosmic deep dive. We've journeyed from a hidden ocean on Mars to geysers erupting on a tiny moon to a potential alien ecosystem on Jupiter's moon, Europa. We've even touched the very edge of the universe, contemplating a cloud of water vapor so vast it dwarfs our planet by billions.
It's been quite the adventure, and it all started with this single question: is there more water out there?
And the answer, it seems, is a resounding yes.
It makes you realize that our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving. What we think we know today might be completely turned on its head tomorrow.
And that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? There's always more to discover, more to learn, more to explore. So, to our listeners, we leave you with this. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and never lose your sense of wonder. Because the universe, it's full of amazing things just waiting to be discovered.